What's going on, everyone? Fearless Football Forecast here. It is DFS time. It is NFL Week 7. We're ready to win that $1 million prize. All of our DFS lineups have been doing pretty well. If you haven't been following along, make sure to subscribe and smash that like button. We're going to jump right into things here. I'm going to go first. We usually do it snake style, so I am going to go with my quarterback. I'm taking a little bit of a value play here. I love the matchup. I'm going with Jordan Love at 7,800 against the Denver Broncos, who have allowed a ridiculous amount of points. The reason why I like Love is because he can get it done on through the air and on the ground. As you can see right there, they are 31st against quarterbacks. I think he should have a fantastic day.
So my favorite part about when we do these videos is that we keep each other completely in the blind. Like most of the other stuff, most things we're in the blind for, but there's some things we have to talk to each other about, even if it's just a text. This we're completely blind, and my quarterback is Jordan Love as well. So I think that's pretty funny. My start of the week, if you watch the podcast, if not, hit that thing up. Start of the week, Jordan Love. You basically said it. He's good with the legs, and Denver's defense sucks. Coming off a bye week, I think that they're going to be finely tuned. My running backs, I went with Kenneth Walker. Again, he's going to be a beast this week. He could possibly have 3 touchdowns, and I wouldn't even blink twice. I think he's going to be a stud and worth the money. And then my value running back, I'm going to go with Latavius Murray. Again, this is another shout out to the podcast. I have a good feeling that he at least gets 1 touchdown this week. Damian Harris is out. And quite honestly, I could see this game being a beating, as I mentioned in the podcast. And there's a chance that he could get a bulk of the carries and potentially be used a lot.
All right. So running back, we're 2 for 2 to start our lineup. I went with Kenneth Walker as well. Just an amazing matchup. It's crazy. If you look at his line right now, he's at like 91.5 yards, and his 2 touchdown prop is plus 200. When have you ever seen a running back other than like when Derrick Henry was in his prime in Tennessee when they were actually good, have like those odds for 2 touchdowns? Like we said, he's going to eat. I went with my second running back, not like too much of value, but still an overall value for a starter on a great rushing offense against a pretty bad rushing defense. I'm going with Jerome Ford. I think he should have a really good game. I think this game's going to be very like nitty gritty, just run the ball all the time. Jerome Ford's going to get a lot of work. The defense is going to grind out the clock. It's just going to be one of those games where you'll be shocked at the final score and how it translates to his production. As far as wide receiver goes, I'm actually paying up for the highest wide receiver. I'm going with Cooper Kupp. And Kupp has been fantastic, honestly, since coming off of the IR. He had over 100 yards the other day, and he's been super consistent, but he hasn't really had that explosive game, that Cooper Kupp crazy game. And what better team other than the Steelers, who have been 29th against wide receivers for fantasy? I love Kupp to get multiple touchdowns this week. Second wide receiver, I'm going with the stack with Jordan Love. I'm going with Christian Watson, another guy who has got a lot of hype throughout the offseason in being a great player and taking some strides in year 2, but it hasn't really translated on the field. He did have that touchdown in the one game, but he hasn't had a dominant performance. I expect him to break out this week. I think he's a perfect stylistic player for that defense. And another guy I am going with is Hollywood Brown, who had 11 targets last week. Didn't really translate much, which is why you're kind of getting them for a steal at 6,700. I love my wide receivers this week.
Yeah, so again, we're matching up here with Christian Watson, going with the stack. You mentioned it. I think he's really good stylistic matchup for Denver. He's only getting healthier with the bye week. You got to remember he was coming off that hamstring issue. And if you think of Denver, they always give up big plays. Christian Watson, I think he's good at every level of the field, but he has a knack for big plays with his speed. So I could definitely see him taking advantage of that. My second receiver, I'm going to go with DK Metcalf. I just think that the Cardinals are the Seahawks, I should say, are going to dominate the Cardinals. I think they're going to put up 30-plus points, and I think it's going to be really focused between DK and Walker. I think Walker is going to have a huge game, and then I think DK is going to get a bulk of receiving yards, a couple big plays, things like that. And then I'm going to go with Rashee Rice. He's just so cheap, and he's been pretty consistent. And I think that that's going to keep happening moving forward. He's really the second best guy they've got, especially in zone coverage. It's Kelsey, and then it's him. Really, no one else has been able to get open in zone. So I really expect him to be good this week. And quite honestly, just moving forward throughout the season, as long as his value is down in this range, I'm willing to take it, especially against a weaker matchup with the Chargers. And then my tight end, we've talked about him multiple times this week. I'm going to go with Michael Mayer. I think that this game is going to be actually pretty high scoring. And I think that Michael Mayer not only is going to be active getting the ball downfield, but extremely active in the red zone.
So the streak just keeps rolling on. Michael Mayer is my pick as well. We both think that he's going to have a breakout. A lot of rookie tight ends this year have actually done very well. If you're looking at like Sam Laporta, Musgrave has had some games, and Michael Mayer, we think that this is going to be his game where he breaks out. As far as my flex goes, this is a very questionable pick, and I think this is going to be the one that if people are in the comment section, they're going to be freaking out about this one. But I'm actually going to be going with Quentin Johnston. I feel like after last week, everyone was crapping on him. It's very hard to replace a veteran like Mike Williams. I think there's been a lot of pressure, but at the end of the day, he is still a very talented player. And I and you, both of us kind of expect the Chargers to be pretty competitive in this one. And if they are, they're going to need him to actually step up this week. So I like him as, maybe a player that Kansas City's not necessarily prepping for.
All right, and then my flex, I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. I mentioned it already. I think that there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game, especially on Las Vegas' side. I think that Jacobs is going to be used to ground and pound. I think that there's a good chance that every touchdown scored by Las Vegas is by Michael Mayer and Josh Jacobs this week. And then for my defense, I had a lot of money left over. I had some lower guys. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I mentioned it before. I think that they are going to dominate the Patriots. I think that they're going to really have a hard time scoring the Patriots. I know Ed Oliver is out. I know they've been plagued with injuries before this past week with Oliver. I just don't think that it matters. The Patriots offense is horrible, and the Bills still have enough playmakers, especially along the defensive line, to really get in Mac Jones' face. And I think that he's definitely going to make a few mistakes, and it's really just hoping that they can return one for a touchdown.
Can't argue with that. Because I did the opposite and kind of paid up for some players like Cooper Kupp. I have to take a value defense, and I'm actually going to go with a pick that maybe you like because you think they're going to win the game. I'm going with the New York Giants. Sam Howell has had like 3 consecutive games now where he's been fantastic, but the game before that was against the Buffalo Bills, and he looked absolutely abysmal. And so in New York, the Giants really, really need to win this. I mean, in order to keep any chance of getting back into the playoffs from last year alive, they need to win this game. And I don't know if their offense can do it. So it's on the defense to step up. So I like them in this matchup for 3,400. Quick rundown of the picks. I'll go first since my screen's on. I got Jordan Love at 7,800, Kenneth Walker at 88, Jerome Ford 66, Cooper Kupp 97, Christian Watson 66, Marquise Brown 67, Michael Mayer 49, Quentin Johnston 55, and the New York Giants at 34.
I just want to mention before I run down mine, I do like the Giants defense a lot. When I was running through everything and trying to fiddle with the lineups, there was a lineup that I had with the Giants as my defense. But my actual lineup, Jordan Love for 78, running backs, Latavius Murray 56, Kenneth Walker 88, Christian Watson at receiver 66, Rashee Rice 56, DK Metcalf 77, tight end Michael Mayer for 49, Josh Jacobs in the flex for 8, and the Buffalo Bills defense for 5.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there it is. That's our DFS lineup. Like I said at the beginning of the show, make sure to smash that subscribe button, the like button, keep the lights on, and we'll see you next week.